I wonder how long some of those actors had to hold that smile for while making this movie. It's starting to hurt my face! Smile 2. After a publicly terrible accident and on the verge to embark on a world tour, global pop star Skye Riley begins experiencing increasingly terrifying events that could be all in her head. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and pressures of fame, Skye is forced to face her dark past to regain control of her life before it spirals totally out of control.
No, get away from me! What?
He was smiling at me.
I actually didn't really like the first Smile movie. Like, I thought it was alright. I gave it, I think, a B- or something in the end. So when I heard there was a Smile 2 coming out, I did not want to go see it. I was very apprehensive about it. And let me tell you, boy did Parker Finn, the director-writer, prove me wrong.
Am I right or am I right or am I right? Right.
I actually really enjoyed Smile 2. In fact, I think it is a lot better than the original, which is so crazy to say. Let's just first acknowledge that when it comes to sequels, they almost are never better than the original.
Definition alone, they're inferior films.
It's bullshit generalization. Many sequels have surpassed their original.
Oh yeah?
Name one.
First of all, Parker Finn definitely took the notes that he got from his last movie, and you can tell that he vastly improved upon it for Smile 2. It's like he got that first film to work out the kinks and quirks, and he was a first-time filmmaker. That was his directorial debut, and ultimately created a bigger, better, scarier film. To me, this is a great psychological horror film. While it's still bloody and gory at parts, there's a purpose to it.
Find my purpose, yeah.
There is an amazing pace to this film. Like, the pacing and the tone is just spot on. Like, this movie's over 2 hours long, yet it feels like an hour and 45 because it's so intense and so captivating that it just blows by that time frame. Where the first movie was just under 2 hours, yet I felt like that movie felt like it was over 2 hours when I was in the movie theaters watching it for the first time.
How long is this going to take?
The character is much more likable at the center of it. I love that it's set around this pop star instead of a psychiatrist. And not that the actress in the first movie did a bad job or anything, she was great. But what Naomi Scott does in this film is just incredible. This is her best performance I think she's ever done. I thought she was 100% just committed and just there, and you could see the vast array of talent this young woman has, like as a singer, as a dancer, as a mover, as a person who could just get the camera to stay on their face, and it's just so captivating. There are so many close-ups in this movie of her face and her eyes, and she has to do so much, and a lot is asked of her. This is a very emotionally straining film because of the things she goes through, and then obviously with the demon attaching itself to her and all the things that she has to experience. It's just heartbreaking, and she is magnificent. This is probably one of the best performances of this year in general, and I can't believe I'm saying that for a horror film, and I can't believe I'm saying that for Smile 2, this sequel that I never even really wanted.
Nope. Nope. Fuck this shit.
The cinematography in this film is amazing too. They definitely took stuff from the first film and improved upon it for this film. And I thought the cinematography was just a lot more fitting. Where I felt in the first film, some of the times the cinematography was almost pretentious. Like, it was like, look at all these cool angles we're doing. Isn't that neat? And it just didn't maybe work for the story of the psychiatrist. But for this character of Skye, of this pop artist, I thought it was just perfect. It was brilliantly choreographed. The views, the way that they shot the night, the way that they shot the apartment, the way that they shoot like her music videos and when she's performing, just mwah, kissy Italian fingers.
Genuine chef's kiss.
The soundtrack to this movie is way better too. It's so much creepier, propulsive, and eerie, and also very cool and stylistic and very poppy. I loved the way that this movie feels because of the sound and the sound design of this film. The editing is sharp and crisp and really, really poetic in some ways. There's some really quick, fast edits in this film, and there's some great lingering shots in this film. And I love that they play with both of these styles to build so much great tension throughout this movie.
Tension, 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 Miss McQueen.
The humor is definitely bleak and black, but it is there, and it's kind of funny at times. Like, I was maybe laughing because I was a bit uncomfortable in moments, but I was definitely laughing at parts because they do go for some humorous moments, and they do work in this really dark movie. The scares are for sure more effective in this film, and the jump scares that happened in the first film, while some of them were cool, not a lot of them are very memorable. This movie has plenty of memorable jump scares. Like, there's one in a bed with her friend. There's the prologue scene of this film, which was absolutely amazing. There's a scene in a dressing room that is creepy and I'll never forget it. There's a whole interpretive dance piece with a bunch of actors in her apartment that was so memorable and such a cool way to bring in like stylistic interpretive dance into a horror flick, and I love that they did that. Being a pop artist and fame, and you know what the pressures of fame does to people, and I love that they incorporated that throughout this entire story for Skye. There's this little creepy girl in this movie. There's this other fan, Alfredo, who is totally crazy, and I loved what they did with that character and how they brought him back throughout the film. There's just some great character work, some amazing performances. Lucas Gage, and I thought he was just hysterically creepy and amazing in this film. Kyle Gallner, who was in the first film, I thought the acting was top notch in this film. The production design, you can tell that Parker Finn got a much larger budget for this film, did way more with the production, with the style, with the tone, with the pacing, with the set pieces, all of it, the costumes. This movie just had so much more going for it than the first film. You know, sometimes bigger isn't always, mean better. But in this case, for Smile 2, I think that is true. Really did, raise the hairs on the back of my neck. And I thought if you can do that, that's an effective horror film. And that's why I think this film is so effective, because it does a big character piece at the center of it. And it is a psychological horror of them thinking they're going insane, or maybe not. It plays with that so well. There are a couple of things about this movie that I wish they had changed a few things. The writing of this movie is mostly good. However, I did find there were a couple of story beats that were repetitive from the first film. So there were some scares that were repeated. Even if they were improved upon in this movie, I wish that they had done a little bit of different stuff, like a couple of different twists here and there. While this movie does go a little bit more into the lore, you ultimately don't find out that much more. And so I was hoping to get a bit more information about this entity and stuff like that, but you kind of get the same beats as you do in the first film. The last thing about this movie that I wasn't too crazy on was the CGI, especially when you get to the end of the film. I'm not going to spoil anything, but this time the creature is much more in the light, like in the daylight, and you see it very clearly, where in the first film she's in like a dark sort of cabin house sort of thing, so you don't see the creature as much. But I thought the CGI of the creature was a bit weak, and there were a few other moments throughout the film where the CGI is very noticeable. But overall, I had an awesome time with this film. I was thoroughly scared, really entertained, got my adrenaline going multiple times. This movie is an awesome example of how sequels could be better than the original, and the performances are amazing. Definitely worth checking out. I really do recommend this film. I highly recommend it, actually, especially if you love the horror genre and you're a horror fan. Before I give my final grade on this film, if you like this video, please make sure you click that like button and subscribe to my channel for more content. Comment down below, what did you think of Smile 2? Did you like this more than the original film? Were you excited for this movie? What is your favorite horror film? Let me know with your thoughts and comments down below. Thanks so much for doing that. So overall, I'm gonna go ahead and give Smile 2 an A. Thank you so much for checking out Mr. Teach Film Preach. Come back and check out some other video reviews, such as the double feature of Speak No Evil and Never Let Go, and The Substance. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you on the next film.